Well, howdy do, buckaroos. This is Joe Layton of Cowboys and Indians magazine, and I am very happy today to be talking with Pat Green, who has his first album out in quite a while, Miles and Miles of You. And Pat, I guess the first question is, what took you so long?
I've never been one of those guys that writes all the time. I kind of just write when the mood strikes, if you will. And certainly during COVID, there wasn't a whole lot going on. So we decided that it'd be a pretty good time. We rented our big house down in Austin and hired the studio guys to come and do their thing. And it was a magical time for us. I know we bonded as a band for sure, and wrote a lot of fun songs, and we just got really down to the way we were feeling right then.
And how were you feeling?
Well, there's no doubt. I don't think anybody in the music business. We all were unemployed for 2 years. You couldn't go to work. For radio DJs and other people out there in the world, they can still go to work and do their thing, but we require an audience. That was a pretty hard thing to come by.
So in the process of putting this all together, I've talked with other artists who said that occasionally while putting together an album, they'll be looking through the filing cabinet or their drawer, and they'll find a song they started work on maybe a few years earlier and put it aside, and they'll go, well, wait a minute, this is pretty good, and it's very appropriate for right now. Did any of that happen for you while putting this together?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. The title track to the record is a song called Miles and Miles of You, that the first time, I didn't write it, but a friend of mine, John Randall, who plays guitar for Lyle Lovett and Sheryl Crow and a million other bands, just a very talented guy. Anyway, he wrote that song, and I was playing a show in Pittsburgh, and he came out, and I didn't ask permission to record it, but I heard he was playing it in my bus, and I recorded him playing it, and man, I sat on that thing, I guarantee you, for over 15 years, and I'm so excited because it's such a visually pleasing song. The lyric and everything just really kind of fell right in my lap, and so yeah, it took me 15 years to record that one.
Well, worth waiting for.
Okay.
So what did you miss the most, you think, about live performing? I mean, obviously there's the audience interaction, but what else?
I have this little fortune cookie that I got right when I got married to my wife 22 years ago. It's still in my pocket. And the fortune says, "Distance lends enchantment to the view." And so what I'm getting at is that, man, I sure do miss my wife and kids when I'm out there on the road, but relatives and fish start to smell after a few days. And my wife is definitely ready for me to get back out there and get some work done.
So, honey, couldn't you go out there with a mask and sing or something?
Yeah, it might sound weird, but you can do
it. Yes. Now, when you are in live performance, when you're in concert,
yeah,
are you ever surprised by requests, maybe shouted out by the audience, some deep cuts like, "Hey, sing the Elvis song," or something like that?
I still love the Elvis song. Yes, I'm continually surprised with the things that people will remember from my past and think that it's still relevant or important enough to hear. I have to admit, there's a lot of music I've forgotten through the years.
Yeah. Could you shout the lyrics out for me and maybe I'll play it?
Yeah, do you have a sign that you can hold up?
Going back to the new album, what was the toughest nut to crack? What was the song that took the most takes in the studio, and maybe you started thinking, well, maybe we ought to save that for the next album? I don't know.
Man, they're all tough. I'll tell you from my perspective. How about that way? I tell it from my perspective. The hardest one to sing is if it don't have a honky tonk.
Mhm.
Very, very top of my register, and you know, it really required me to not only elevate my game a little bit, but really like think about, okay, tonight I'm singing this song tomorrow, so tonight I can't have spicy food.
Mhm.
You know, I can't drink any milk or have ice cream because
Mhm.
that stuff just gets in your throat. But yeah, that was the one for me that was the toughest.
Looking back over your career, what is the worst gig you ever had? The worst live performance gig? Like maybe you dream about it sometimes and you wake up in the middle of the night with the cold sweats or something.
There's so many, I don't even know where to begin. I mean, you know, I've done 4,000 shows in my life, so it's um, there's always one lurking around the corner. Poughkeepsie, New York stands out. It's one of those gigs that, yeah, I mean, the band outnumbered the crowd. You know, it was just man, it was not. I don't know. I didn't have as much fun that as I do playing Billy Bob's.
There you go. There you go. Now, you still operate an art gallery, right?
Oh, we closed down that during COVID as well.
Oh
We had
dear, I'm
2
sorry.
years that, well, you know, you gotta really, it keeps kind of, I put it in perspective and don't worry about it, right? We had, you know, when COVID was going on, nobody was making any money, so nobody was buying bigger
Mm,
ticket items, right? I mean,
mhm.
you know, my sculptures, I'm still doing my sculpting and stuff like that, but uh, yeah, nobody was buying anything because nobody had any money at the time, and so I was just kind of paying rent on a building that what nobody was coming to. So sadly, that went the way, but I don't know. I don't know what to say. It was a great time, and I still love making art. I mean, you can see it. I mean, this is an office, but it's really where I make art. That's all I do here.
Well, you're still making art with your music.
Yeah,
So the name of the
I'm trying to be creative every day.
well, the name of the album is Miles and Miles of You, and it's available wherever you get your music right now. And I know it's like, asking you to pick your favorite child, but which cut on the album are you most proud of? Let's say maybe it's not the best, but it's the one
Um,
that Oh, I'm glad I'm glad I got that one on there.
I think I'm Going Home is the most revealing song on the record. I feel like it really I don't know how to put it. I got really vulnerable with the way I was feeling, and told I told the truth. I told exactly how I was feeling throughout COVID. I was kind of just lost and wandering and out of place and depressed and all these emotions. And I finally had to just say, hey, enough's enough. I'm gonna dig out.
Well, as I say, you're still doing your art and your music.
That's all I got.
Well, you've been very generous with your time. Thank you, Pat, and good luck to you.
Thanks so much for having me on your computer.